Why are you driving in the wrong way of traffic?
No, I just got changed around. I just moved here like 2 months ago.
Okay.
I just got changed around.
Okay. Do you understand what's going on, though?
Yes.
You're going into oncoming traffic. Miss Perry?
Well, I'm non-binary, so.
Okay. What do you go by?
It's Kai.
Hey, I'm smelling alcohol.
I know.
How much have you consumed tonight?
Like probably 3 drinks. I also have very bad social anxiety.
You and me both. Focus on my finger, please.
I am. You're just like trying to intimidate me. As an indigenous person and there's a bunch of going around, I'm sorry, but it's just for me to be on my toes.
Have any injuries or anything that would prevent you from doing a standard walk or turn tonight?
Mental health.
Right foot, place it in front of your left in a heel-to-toe touching manner with your arms by your side, just like this, ma'am.
Can you not call me ma'am, please? I suffer from really bad anxiety, especially with generational trauma and PTSD around white people and cops.
Go ahead and place your hands behind your back.
Don't, dude.
You're going to get a resist.
As an indigenous person like you guys.
Oh boy, that indigenous, non-binary, generationally traumatized, social anxious person is definitely special. And hey, they're marginalized, so they get to drink and drive, okay? Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely wild and crazy news to get into today, as of course the Republican presidential candidacy just got shaken up by the corporate media that is surely acting very strange and weird towards one of the candidates that they're going to be making a lot popular from here. As of course, internationally, the situation is just as tumultuous as the presidential elections here in the side of the United States. As of course, we have drone on drone, robot on robot battles unfolding right now in the Middle East with proxies versus, of course, influence groups, sponsored groups. Again, it's just a confusing mess, and we are going to be doing everything in our power to try to explain it to you as best as we can with all the latest news events happening in the world right now in this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that says the reality of war, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is being shared around wildly on TikTok, highlighting a drunk person driving their cars and then trying to excuse the white patriarchy for this action that, of course, endangered many innocent lives. And a drunk driver talking about how white guys are aggressing against her is a little rich there, as on multiple incidences, she said that he's being a, quote, white man. Yeah. How do you stop? How do you stop being the way that you're born? You can't. All as, of course, this snowflake's behavior is being institutionalized within the Department of Health and Human Services that now has just rolled out new gender pronoun policies that could result in individuals being fired for misgendering their fellow creature or it. If I say it, YouTube's going to get mad at me. I don't know what these people want to call themselves. I say the wrong thing, I'm in trouble, as they literally change what they want to be called almost every other day. How am I supposed to keep up with that? Why am I supposed to keep up with that? Why is it my duty and responsibility to fit someone's ever-changing narrative in their own minds that has been linked to mental illness? Well, that's a question that a lot of people should be asking themselves, as of course, it's not just the Department of Health and Human Services that is rolling out these protocols, as of course the U.S. military has been very aggressively pushing a lot of leftist woke policies, which highlights some very troubling developments for the American people, as of course overall recruitment for the military is at record lows, with military supplies being depleted as they're being sent all over the world, specifically to Ukraine, specifically to places like Israel. And in response to that, many proxies and sponsored groups and organizations, specifically coming from Iran and also Saudi Arabia, are launching attacks on, of course, the United States and its military installations that are providing all the military hardware that it's depleting its supply of. As Fox News today is reporting that there have already been 42 reported attacks on U.S. forces in the wake of the larger conflict that has been unfolding right now inside of Palestine. as just hours ago, the United States launched another major airstrike campaign on Iranian-backed groups inside of Syria, as this is now the second attack by the United States this year, as it's also important to note that these groups that are being attacked here by the United States within the last few years were the same groups that went up against Sunni radical Islamists who previously occupied the territory and, of course, were kidnapping Westerners and then, let's just say, giving them very close shaves on camera that they, of course, aired and shared everywhere on social media. So yeah, that confusing situation is unfolding right in the Middle East, as of course it could lead to a greater, bigger war. This as internally, many Americans are just fighting each other, like we have recently seen throughout major demonstrations all throughout the United States. The latest of one outside the Los Angeles Museum of Tolerance, where after a movie showing, there was a mass brawl between pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian protesters as major violence broke out in the streets, highlighting how some local populations inside of this country are tearing each other apart, with some speculating that, maybe that was the intended outcome all along, especially when it comes to the larger role that the corporate media has in all of this, as we also found out that CNN had their own freelance photographers that were embedded with Hamas on October 7th to cover the attacks that they committed on Israeli citizens. It wasn't just CNN, it was also the Associated Press, Reuters, and you would think one of the most highly financed, highly bankrolled intelligence agency in the region would know what would be happening when local journalists from the CNN, Associated Press, and Reuters are literally planning their itinerary when it comes to covering the human atrocities that Hamas had planned for the people of Israel. This as now the Israeli government is asking for answers from CNN as new pictures have emerged from journalists on the scene of many of these attacks that were embedded with the militant groups as they were launching their attacks. All of this is happening as Israel just announced that they will be implementing a, quote, 4-hour pause in fighting in order to let civilians flee northern Gaza, with some citizen groups and human rights organizations claiming that these people will never be able to go back to their own land. Is that the truth here? As of course, the mounting civilian casualties have been rising here, highlighting what some people have called a discriminatory policy by Israel that has had a massive humanitarian toll on the local population in that region. This as of course the fighting will continue after 4 hours and hopefully doesn't spiral out of control and engulf the United States and other countries to be a part of this ridiculous tit-for-tat foreign policy that, of course, could very quickly spiral out of control and lead us down a potential global conflict between Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey, and, of course, the rest of the Western world, including, of course, Israel. The battle lines are drawn. The alliances have been made. It's pretty clear who stands on what particular side here. As history usually rhymes, it doesn't repeat. And there usually is some kind of larger conflict almost every 100 so years. And that's one reason out of many reasons I keep telling human beings to become the strongest, best version of themselves. And we conspire to do that with the best information provided to you on lukeunfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? It's quick. It's easy. It's simple. You could click right here, save a bunch of money if you sign up for a year. You could sign up monthly for less than 50 cents a day. The link is down in the description below. Click on it right now. Click here. The amount of information that you have to put in is very small. You get access very quickly, and you also get the right to call in to the show that we have started doing live on this particular platform. A show that takes live video callers, only callers that are members of lukeunfiltered.com. To get all that information, first log in. As of course, today we will be having Vivek Ramaswamy on our show in studio here in Southern Florida after his pretty incredible debate performance last night. We're going to be talking to him in just a few hours. Members of lukeunfiltered.com will be able to call into that show, as well as get access to amazing offers of value, 3 masterclasses, 100 plus 50 instructional videos on how to survive any situation, how to travel the world for free, how to become a journalist and influencer, all those masterclasses available to you, a forum to talk to like-minded individuals about their courses, their time, where you could find them, a members-only t-shirt store, contest, giveaways, free tickets to events, you name it, in real-life meetups, all that, only available for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. So if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? It's quick, it's easy and simple, and you could also sign up a friend, give them the login, give them the password, and this is a great gift to give for birthdays, Christmas, you name it. As of course, the master classes alone are worth the value that you will be getting. As of course, there will be another video right after this one, getting into some of the more spicy, hot button issues that, of course, we cannot discuss here on this particular platform. That conversation usually centered around health and tips and tricks to be the best version of yourself. Again, sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com, and I will see you there right after this broadcast. As of course, here inside of the United States, the situation is not looking very promising as politicians are indebting this country, devaluing the US dollar, and selling your future off to the highest corporatist bidder that, of course, will use it in very nefarious, horrendous ways that will, of course, never benefit you. But very surprisingly, last night at the Republican presidential debates here in Miami, Florida, which I was personally attending, Vivek Ramaswamy decided to come out swinging, attacking essentially the political establishment that has currently led us astray with this eye-opening introductory statement that he made to the country.
Become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
Sorry.
Woo! A very powerful moment by Vivek, because of course I even saw him have his mic turned off as he was trying to respond to the people attacking him on this stage. But this is a totally different performance from him than we saw from all the other debate performances, as of course this one absolutely stood out in a lot of his statements, a lot of his criticisms, especially going after the current GOP head that a lot of people point to, of course, mishandling funds, buying a lot of lucrative, expensive items and services, while, of course, failing their local constituents, not allocating the right money and resources to the people that need it the most, while essentially doing the bidding of larger rhinos and neoconservatives, as some people are saying that the GOP is self-sabotaging itself. And looking at the situation myself, there's a very strong argument to make here that Vivek exposed to the rest of the world. His idea when it comes to Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk moderating the debates is absolutely on point, as of course the American people would love to see this. And imagine the ratings, imagine the questions, imagine the discourse that would happen if these free-thinking individuals that are not controlled by the ruling establishment, that don't read off scripts by the federal government and the intel agencies, would actually sit down in front of all the people that want to be your leader and hold them accountable by asking them legitimate, real questions, while also being fact-checked in real time by Jamie, who would be looking up all the declaration by these presidential candidates to see if any of them could actually hold water. As it's important to note here that all the presidential candidates were essentially singing the same tune except for Vivek Ramaswamy last night that proposed this larger idea that I think would be extremely popular and also at the same time galvanize the Republican base. But of course, the tired old RNC GOP will do everything in their power to make sure that something like that does not happen. As of course, many people, even myself, I asked on Twitter, hey, how many of you guys would actually watch this debate? Overwhelmingly, 12,000 people voted. Hell yeah. Why wouldn't we? As of course, this is a conversation that I think this country deserves, an honest, a real one. As it's refreshing to see that there is an alliance of individuals coming together and saying, hey, enough is enough. You could only have the blindfold on the American people's eyes for so long. You could only lie to them for so long until they actually start paying attention to what's really going on. And those voices are represented by the people that Vivek Ramaswamy wants to hold the next presidential debate with. Now, is this an actual possibility? Well, let's be honest here. All of these guys know each other. They talk to each other. They hang out. Why wouldn't they decide to host a forum, maybe even on X, maybe on Twitter? As of course, Joe Rogan's deal with Spotify is ending very soon, as many people await a possibility of him actually moving to another platform like X. And if he does, that would be very game-changing for the social media platform that now is not bending the knee to the federal government censorship of news stories on that platform. All the other social media platforms, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, YouTube, Google, Alphabet, they've been censoring a big bombshell news story that just came out a few days ago from Steven Crowder, but Rumble, X, hasn't, which seems like a natural fit for Joe Rogan. And if he goes on this platform where Tucker Carlson is already releasing his videos on, which Elon Musk facilitates the production of, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's a big possibility that presidential candidates might need to be interviewed and questioned by these individuals if they want to become the next president of the United States. So is this a possibility? Absolutely. And personally, I'm all in for it myself, as of course, the corporate media today is now attacking Vivek Ramaswamy for breaking the conditioning and daring to bring perspectives that were not unison of the Uniparty. Newsweek is telling everyone that he's tearing apart the Republican Party. The New York Times is somehow talking about how he did very poorly in these debates, and that to me is just ridiculous. How did he come with this kind of perspective here as we're getting the onset of what happened to Ron Paul in 2008, where we had a lot of censorship and foul play when it came to, of course, destroying individuals, and their chances are being diminished by the establishment as a new up-and-comer is definitely shaking things up all in the right ways. Is he going to have a very similar effect, just like Ron Paul did in 2008? Press 1 if you think that is the case. Press number 2 if that is not the case down in the comment section below. Again, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. One more video coming your way right now on that particular platform and sharing this video. And because you do, that's why I'm still here. That's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.